All right, welcome back. We're going to continue on the giant ATX 770 mountain bike X. I don't even know what I'm calling this project anymore. Mountain bike to touring bike conversion project slash build. It was really just a frame, so I decided to build it up as a touring bike. So far, so good. But I'm coming really to the moment of truth, which is to work on the shift cables. Now, the rear derailleur shift cables, I don't think you're going to be any issue at all. That should work pretty much fine. My biggest concern is running my left shifter cable and housing, routing it to what I'm using now, which is a mountain bike front derailleur. It is a mountain bike crankset, it is a mountain bike frame, so everything is mountain bike. It's a mountain bike rear derailleur, it's a mountain bike cassette, right? Everything is really basically mountain bike. The crankset is a touring crankset, but it still would fall slightly under the mountain bike category. Certainly in terms of chain line, it falls into the mountain bike category. So the only thing I'm running that's road is the shifters, and that's not supposed to work that well. This is the moment of truth where I find out if I can finagle it, if I can make it work. So really, this is my Jaguar shift cable and housing. Comes with that Jaguar. It comes with that Jaguar Road Pro complete cable kit that I got. This kit is like 35 bucks on eBay, and it's got all of your housings, all of your cables, brake, shift. It's got all the nifty doodads. The cables are Teflon coated. The housings are slick lube liner, meaning you don't have to lube up anything. It's already kind of lubricated. So anyway, 35 bucks for both sets, and they look cool. And I might not even use these housings because I have a bunch of spare housings in my little cable box. So if I can avoid it, the cables are key. The cables, I'm going to use these for sure. But these housings, again, it's like a single long housing, and they already both have one end with the little grit protector end on. The top tube of this bike has three channels for housings. So I've got the left side is running my rear brake cable, but I've got to have the two other channels are left to do the front derailleur and the rear derailleur. So I think what I'm going to do, I've looked online, I've looked at some schematics. It really just depends on the arrangement of the bike. What I think I'm going to do is try to run my front cable, and I'm not going to, a lot of people cross it over in front of the bike, in front of the steer tube, and then wrap it around. I don't think I need to. I'm going to play around with it, but I think I can wrap this on, take it on the inside, and route that through the central channel. So my front derailleur cable will route central, a little bit of housing here to wrap right around there into there's this little housing section here, and then it'll be just cable down to the derailleur. Derailleur mount point is down here. And then the rear will wrap around from here, come under the cable, stretch through this section back to here, and then that'll loop down to there. So that won't be in the way of that cable at all. So yeah, that's my plan. My plan is to go left shift through the central channel, right shift through the right channel. That may not be conventional. I looked up some stuff. I couldn't find a definitive like that's the way you do it, this is the way you don't do it. So I'm just going to do it the way that makes the most sense for me and my situation. I've got an older piece of cable housing here from my previous bike build I did, and it's the same exact thing, Jaguar Lex SL. So this is the same exact inner housing. It's simply a shorter piece, but I can use this until I run out of it, and then I'll have a longer piece for future use. Again, if you're doing this a one-time build, use the thing you just bought, but this is the same exact product. It's in good shape. It's just been in a box waiting to be used in a bag. So what I want to do is, again, I want to make sure I rotate the bars to make sure that I have enough, that I give it enough slack in the housing so that it can rotate fully, but that I don't have a ridiculous amount of extra cable. If I hold my fingers and don't let the cable stretch, and I see how far it goes. Right now, it's not pulling in my fingers whatsoever, and it's not coming out of there, and it should go this way easy. Yeah, it's perfect for that section of housing. I'm going to cut this cable to this length, which is going to leave me with a short piece that I probably will be able to repurpose for like the section that goes from this housing to here, and that may be about the end of it. But still, you're repurposing an older cable housing that which leaves me with longer sections that I'll be able to divvy up at a later point. So give it a good snap, and that cut pretty well. Then just crimp that out a little bit so it's a nice, you can see the opening. This piece of housing I just cut for the left side, size for the left side, should work exactly the same for the right. It should have the same and functionally, whoever turns their bars that far. So I think that length will work. This is going to be moderately difficult because I also want to add in the inline adjuster, the inline cable adjuster, because I don't have cable adjusters for either of these shift settings. The only shift adjusters I have is the barrel adjuster on the rear derailleur itself, which is fine, but it's not as great in ride, and I don't have any adjustment potential for the rear derailleur, so I need some kind of barrel adjuster, and I'm going to put inline adjusters on. Okay, so this is not the final placing of this cable, but this is the purported routing of my shift cable. Or can you see where I am? My shift cable right now. I'm going to be installing my Jaguar Pro indexed inline cable adjuster, and the two possible locations are essentially, I could cut a piece of cable right about at the entrance to the housing, which wouldn't be that bad. What you want to do is you want to put it in a relatively straight run of cable. So I could put it either really close up here, or I could put it closer to where it straightens out underneath the handlebar. Now this one's a little bit more out of the way. It's a little bit less visible. Okay, so I've got the prototype housing in place. So this is the little Jaguar end cap. On that end, it wraps around. You got the cool little text there that looks pretty good. And then I've got it wrapping around just inside of the brake cable. I'm gonna put one of those little one of these little frame donuts on there so it doesn't rub, and then right on into that side. So now that's a good length, but I'm gonna stick that barrel adjuster right about here. So I'm gonna snip this cable here and take maybe about a ½ an inch or an inch, maybe like 3/4 of an inch of that cable out. And I have this barrel adjuster already kind of loaded up to the middle of its span, so it can wind either direction. So I've already done that, so I know that this is the middle of its range. Okay, so this should work really well. So there's that housing. Now I'm going to need the housing bit that stretches from the center here to the center down here, and that I can just use this short section here. I've been taking my time with getting these housings right, but this is part of being a little bit, I'm not like obsessive compulsive at all, but little things like I like the fact that you can see even when you're in the cockpit of the bike, you can see the label of the wiring. I like the fact that my barrel adjuster here is at a point where it's pretty much dead straight run, and this should look pretty good. I like the fact that this housing here, I even restretched the wire so that you can see the name of the company as you're looking at the bike. And that's a nick on the frame from the past, but that's why this little thing is here, this little rubber thing, so that it doesn't happen again. And that may be a little tight on the shift cable, but I've seen that. I mean, that's how it's done. So now comes the scary part. Now comes running the cable, attaching it to the derailleur, and seeing if this even shifts. Just running all those housings, even if they look pretty, that's one thing, but I don't even know if this is going to have the proper shift ratio to run this derailleur. So this is the nervous part. Okay, here are the shift cables. So they're the exact same length shift cables. So there's no getting that one wrong. The shift lever has to be all the way in the lowest gear in order to seat the nub into the housing section. And now because I haven't tried any of these sections yet, I do it little bit by little bit, and hopefully this will get through the barrel adjuster section. Oh, there it goes. It's popping out here. So far, so good. I want to put on one of the little frame protectors for the shift cable that goes in this segment. Okay, so the cable is all the way routed. Now, this derailleur, Shimano Dior RDM591, I believe. This can be a top pull. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do, or it can be a bottom pull. So it has routing for the cable. Now, where this cable is supposed to actually go is around the outside of this thing like this, and just wrap around this bolt, and then just get pushed this way. So I'm going to be putting it right in that groove right there. That's the farthest extent that it pretty much can get. So I'm going to bolt it on there and see if that... God, I really hope this shifts. There's potential here. First couple times I had the tension really low. Oh yeah. There's absolute potential here for this to work. This is great news. The shift to the middle looks fine. It looks like it's dead center. I'm afraid that the shift to the outer doesn't have quite enough outboard pull, which I think I can just put a little bit more tension on, and that's again where the barrel adjuster is nice. Put a little bit more tension on, and hopefully that'll get me right where I need to be. So here's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at my shifting without the chain in place yet. I'm just looking at the alignment. So I'm looking at how well that cage lines up with the inner. Right now it's on the lowest. I shift up to the middle, and right now that looks dead center. It looks dead on. And whoops, and then I shift to the outer, and what I can see, I don't know if you can see that from where the angle is here, but it just looks like it's not far enough outboard. And if I look at it from the back side, you know, what you'll see here is again, this may be different in reality, but it just looks like I need that derailleur to be out a little bit more. The chain line looks good, and it looks like it should work out pretty well. The middle looked great. So, unfortunately, I didn't have a ton of time tonight, and I do take my sweet time with the housings. So I think I'm gonna call it a day for today on this.